A group of United Nations experts says the Allied Democratic Forces in Uganda is expanding its operations. The rebel group has been based in DR Congo since the late 90s and has since pledged allegiance to the Islamic State group, also suspected to be funding the ADF. This report came after an attack on a school in western Uganda where at least 40 people were killed. The incident happened near the Congolese border. Uganda and the DRC have continued joint military operations against the ADF, which they say has been expanding its activities beyond the restive eastern DRC. This is particularly away from the Ituri and North Kivu provinces. The rebels are now present in South Kivu and are said to be conducting recruiting exercises and launching attacks in the capital, Kinshasa, and the Haut-Uele province. We earlier spoke to Dr. Richard Moncrieff, Project Director for the Great Lakes region at the International Crisis Group based in Brussels, and he started by telling us the impact of the rise of the Allied Democratic Forces on security in the DRC and the wider region.
Well, in the area they're impacting in Ituri province, that's on the border with Uganda, it's a very severe impact indeed. They've been terrorizing the population, pillaging villages, burning villages, killing civilians, and kidnapping people, either for ransom or for recruitment, for a number of years, up to 20 years, but it's got considerably worse. Now, the regional impact, well, of course, we've seen that the latest attacks were in Uganda, although very close to DRC, they were in Uganda. So immediately this has a regional impact. The other regional impact is that the Ugandan armed forces have gone over into Ituri to try to hunt them down. Now, that's a very difficult task because this is a large area and the ADF, although they're terrorizing the population, they do have some roots and some allies in the local populations. And of course, we know that armed forces find it very difficult to fight against groups like that. So at the moment, we have the Ugandan and the DRC army trying to hunt them down in the forests. Not working very well. It tends to just push them from one area to the other. I think there's two main points. One is we need much better regional policing and intelligence because this organization is embedded into the Islamist groups which stretch from the Somali coast right down the Kenyan coast, Tanzanian coast, and all the way to South Africa. And that's in the latest UN experts report, but it's something we've got evidence for a number of years now. So much better and more coordinated policing is a first approach. A second approach is to have a look at the communities in the DR Congo where the ADF has kind of inserted itself and created or exacerbated existing tensions, and have a look at how those communities can be brought back together. Jihadist groups always look for existing tensions between different communities, and they go in there a bit like water going into a rock, and then the water freezes and that cracks the rock apart. And that's exactly what's happened in Ituri province in DRC. So I think a lot more attention needs to be paid to that community level as well.